Hello there, folks. Back again for another hobby vlog kind of thing, behind the scenes, as always. So following on from the video that I did earlier in the week, yesterday in fact, I thought I'd show off kind of what I've been up to down at the tabletop and what I've been working on and that kind of thing. And just show you what I've been up to, really. Because I'm in a little bit of a Napoleonic mood at the moment, and I thought this would be a fun little bit of a look behind the scenes of what I've been doing and that kind of thing. So was ill for about a week, which means I didn't really get any hobby done because I wasn't really able to do much, to be honest. I was sat in bed with a cough, yeah, and otherwise just not feeling very well, really, which is not great when you want to do lots of hobby and that kind of thing. So Darkwater hasn't really progressed on any further than the last time you saw it, but let's dive in and have a look at what I've been doing. So I'm going to bring you to the tabletop and do the old flipperoo. So we'll get to this. We'll get to this in a second. So as you will have probably seen by the the thumbnail for this, what I actually painted up this week was my Sharpe miniature, my Sharpe miniature. So this is the Sharpe from the Wargames Atlantic range. They're going to be doing for Sharpe's rifles, and this is, let's just turn the brightness down a little bit on that one. You can see it a bit better. Yep. So this is the 28mm version of Richard Sharpe that I painted up. Done in the style of Sean Bean, as you can see, with his blonde hair, his lovely blonde locks. So painted him up for use on the tabletop and just to do something a little bit different at the same time. So that's the 28mm version, and then you'll see back here, this is the sort of work in progress on the 54mm version of Sharpe as well. Even at 54mm, I'm not even going to bother attempting to paint the eyes. But otherwise, I think he's actually come out quite nicely so far. I need to do a little bit more work, detail work on the trousers, I think, and maybe defining the braiding on his jacket a bit more. But otherwise, I think he's actually come across quite nicely, and I'll be doing him with a little peninsula base to match what I did for 28mm version of Sharpe as well. So he's all good. Now, as I said in the video on Thursday, so yesterday, maybe if you're watching this, I was looking at Napoleonic stuff, and I was really tempted to go off and just buy a bunch of 28mm Napoleonics to kind of sate myself for the game. But over here, I decided that probably wouldn't be the best idea, because I might sort of like run out of steam working on the Napoleonic bits and pieces. And so what I thought was, I will do something that's a little bit different. So I'm kind of painting in the same wheelhouse, but I'm not exhausting myself and diving into that side of the hobby. And so that's where I went for this, which is Travelbattles. Ooh, so yeah, around. So yeah, been working away on gluing some of these miniatures down for Travelbattle, which is one of the games from the folks at the Perrys. So what I've done with these is, I mean, they're 8mm figures, so they're very tiny. But I've glued the Brigadiers down onto their bases, and I've done the same for the artillery crews, so the cannons. You can see them on their bases. And I've done the same thing for the light and the heavy cavalry, because I can still get a brush in between those to paint them, so it's not going to be a massive issue. And they're just going to be done in the style of the book, which we'll go through in a second anyway, because this is kind of like a breakdown, really, of the Travelbattles rules, to be honest, as well as a little bit of a hobby update. And I've done the same, because that's what I did the British, and I've done the same for the French as well. So you can see they've got the little 8mm horses there. There's your light cavalry, heavy cavalry, artillery, and your more brigadiers. You only need 3 brigadiers in the game, but they've given you 4, so you've got a spare brigadier. So I'm probably going to use the brigadiers, the separate brigadiers, as my kind of like test beds for the schemes. Now, they say that you don't have to undercoat these, but I think I'm probably going to end up undercoating them, I think. just to make it easier to paint them. Might do it in black, might do it in Wraithbone. I'm not sure yet. We'll work out, and I might use contrasts because it'll be nice and quick, to be honest, as well, because you just blip it on and away you go. But as I was saying, you'll notice here that the infantry I've kept separate because they are a little too close to each other when they're mounted on the bases. And even though I could get away with just doing the backs of them and the front facings of them, I don't think I'd enjoy the final look of it. And so what I'm going to do is I've left them off separate, so you can kind of, let's see if we can get this in view. There we go. I'm going to leave them off separately, and then what I'll do is I'll paint them up by sticking them in some blue tack on top of something, and I'll just paint them up and then glue them into the stands when I'm done with it. That seems the best way to go anyway. So actual Travel Battles itself, as you can see here, rules and guide. It's a very, very simple game. Oh, I should actually point out the boards. So if I bring the light up here, these are the boards that they do. So you get the board here. It actually has, let's take that off there. It actually has numbers on the underside, which determine the facings when you set up to play the game. But you get little set on forest bits that you can see there that fit on top, because you can move your infantry inside the forests if you want, which is cool. And then you get little buildings, which these ones are glued on. So I'll just, so you glue those on. And then you have hills, you have pathways through. I'm probably just going to dry brush this, I think, to get it across. You get your fields and your paths and your roads and then your little walls and things like that. So you could set up a peninsula style campaign or something set in France itself, based around Waterloo perhaps. You get 2 of those boards. Each player gets one, and you roll, and then you flip it over, and away you go. But as I was saying, rules and stuff are very, very simple. You can see it comes with this little guide. So this was actually based on something that they'd done before, because they wanted to play some games and they were bored when they were traveling. So you get your brigadiers, your heavy cavalry, your light cavalry, your infantry, your guard infantry, and your artillery. And then you break them down into brigades. Now there's no reason for you to... You can mix and match your brigades as much as you like. But one of the key things with the game is for everything to move within a brigade, it has to be touching either orthogonally or diagonally. So you don't want to have too many soldiers, because your brigade will suddenly become unwieldy. So what you could do is you could just use this as an option for sort of how you build your brigade. But you can break it up as you like. You then assemble your models, build the board and that kind of thing. And you can see the rules for setting up there as well. And then the actual rules are very, very simple. Your roll to see who goes first, and then you go back and forth, alternating, playing with your brigades and moving your troops and moving all of your troops from one side of the board across the other. As you can see, various infantry have moved 1 square, cavalry brigadiers move 2, roads add an additional 1, and you can also move diagonally as well as forward, backwards, or sideways, which is cool. And the whole point of the game is that you're trying to rout or kill 2 of your enemies' brigades, because as soon as you've routed 1 or 2 of those, well, 2 brigades, you've effectively won the game, which is quite cool. Artillery can fire, they get bonuses. You dictate how far they can fire by the distance, so obviously 6 squares away is the longest distance they can fire from. They also get a bonus if there are more troops within an area, because the infantry, when they're marching, they can double up in a space. If they do that, then it gets a +1 to hit with the artillery. It's nice and simple, very easy. And then you have, obviously, the actual fighting mechanics as well. So as you can see over here, nice and simple over here. You roll a d6, and the dice are compared, and the dice will, and that's where you go. If the difference is where things make a difference, so if you get what I mean, so if the difference is 1, the player loses, they're pushed back a square, turning around the unit so they can't be activated next turn. If it's 2, then they effectively run all the way back to the board edge, and they have to be rallied to try and save them and bring them back into the game. If it's 3 or more, they're just removed. So it's pretty impressive and pretty quick when the enemies start fighting and diving into the combat. You'll also see there are rules for rallying, forming square, which is great against cavalry. And there's the win condition at the end as well, which is the person who defeats 2 of the brigades is the winner. And there's the little paint guide for doing just sort of like a bog standard British soldier and a French soldier on the tabletop, really. So nice and simple, easy to do. And there's some of the background on sort of how you'd do the terrain as well. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to play the game this weekend. Just have a little bit of fun with it and see what it's like, and play a little bit of a wargame on the move, because why not? And it's easy enough to break out and play with people who've never really played a wargame before or don't really like big wargames. You've just got, as I said, those are the miniatures down there. That's 2 armies, done and dusted. Away we go. Red and blue. Have some fun. It does also come in a really nice case. Can't really show you. Let's bring it over. So, flip this. So this is the case that it comes in. So you get a space for your red stuff, space for your blue stuff. That's just a Perry Miniatures leaflet. But it comes with like the cool foam and all that kind of thing as well. And when you close it up, can I close it up? Oh, this is awkward. Ugh. Why would I have tried to do this? This is why things are behind the scenes. But yeah, there's your sort of travel battle box. Away you go. Have some fun. Play some games. But yeah, that's just me sort of taking you through kind of what I've been working on at the moment, and sort of what I've been tinkering around with. Nothing massively intensive, as you can see. But yeah, some fun stuff to be done. When it comes to Sharpe and Napoleonics, hopefully play this over the weekend and then give you a little bit of a review of it potentially as well. Maybe even film some of the battle being played. That could be quite fun. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, easing back into hobby as it is at the moment. As I say, if you're a member and you're watching this, thank you very much. That's really cool. Everything goes towards creating more content for the channel and doing stuff like that. So it's all really, 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 really welcome. I have some other things that I'm working on as well. 15mm barbarian stuff, which I'll talk about in a future video for everybody. But there's your little sneak peek as well. But yeah, I better get back to backing things up and getting stuff ready for the weekend, because I'm off to go and play board games and war games for a couple of days with some friends for my stag do, which is cool. So yeah, awesome. Thank you very much for watching. I think I've waffled on long enough. Hopefully you enjoyed the look at this. If you've played travel battles or anything like that, please let me know, because I'd love to hear what you think about it. Any tips for painting 8mm stuff as well would be really, really welcome. But I'm just looking forward to sticking it to the table and having some fun. But yeah, I'll be back next week with another hobby update and a little bit of a vloggy vlog. And yeah, we'll go from there. Watch out for more videos over the course of the weekend. And I'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.